Hello everyone, I am Crawlers and this is another episode of Ridiculous Loadout. As you may already know, this is a series I started way back when in the Battlefield 3 days, basically pouring myself out for cheap views, running a suggested loadout from one of you in the comments section. Now, mostly, this is a not so tactical series where most of the loadouts are either troll or bad or just plain ugly looking. Really, I get a chance to try out a kit, a combination that I haven't thought of before, and maybe have good results with it. Mostly not though. So, this time, a repeat offender, Steven Daygod, suggested I use the MPX with a flash hider, any RDS, and a stubby grip or a potato grip. And I opted for the stubby grip, obviously. The Unica 6 as my sidearm, without any attachments, the frag grenade, and any field upgrade of my choice. Steven rightly calls this loadout the engineer from hell. The MPX is a seriously good little PTW that could, so to speak, and it does. In fact, it's got some pretty good things going for it as far as the technical specs go in Battlefield 4. Now, in the real life, the MPX is a Swiss design for the 6 hour that was designed only about a year ago, so we won't be seeing it in combat anytime soon in all probability. It's a short SMG with a high rate of fire, allowing for a system of conversion from a 9mm to a 357 SIG to a 40 Smith & Wesson cartridge, and the latter is what it uses for its damage model in Battlefield 4. Now, obviously the damage model in an FPS game is all relative, but that's what it says it uses. So, we all know by now that the MPX is a PDW that DICE decided to add in the Dragon's Teeth DLC, and kudos to them because it is very cool. The MPX is actually quite unique in some areas. The damage model, for example, is an interesting one, starting with a max damage of 27 at 12.5 meters, which is higher than the usual 25 for Battlefield 4 PTWs, and the drop-off range is also moved a tiny bit further out to 12.5 meters. The damage drops off to 13 at 50 meters, which is still higher than most PTW's damage at that range. Now, I won't be comparing it to all PTW's damage at ranges because there are, too many different damage models in Battlefield 4, but suffice it to say that the MPX will hold its own at close to medium ranges. The increased maximum damage of MPX, of the MPX PTW, was probably made to counter the defensive perk better in Battlefield 4 somewhat, since it's best used at close ranges. But DICE has since nerfed the defensive perk again, and I believe, at least I believe so, the results, well, you can't seriously keep up with the results when they are constantly changing the specs, so I won't go into that here. Which brings me to another problem. In Battlefield 4, DICE made the PDWs an engineer-specific weapon, unlike Battlefield 3, which was probably not a very good design decision, and I'll tell you why. You see, the engineer class assumes anti-vehicle warfare, and where does that anti-vehicle warfare happen normally? That's right, on large maps, where PDWs are all but useless. So, the engineer is forced to equip the carbine, like the number one weapon in Battlefield 4, the AK-5C, or a DMR, to hit people at ranges where the sniper rifle would be more appropriate. The PDW is a bit of a uh, hose of lead, not very accurate at range, but super deadly up close, with a very good hipfire accuracy, usually, which again assumes close quarter usage. And speaking of the MPX, speaking of the hipfire, the MPX has it for days. The standard PDW hipfire battlefield force spread applies, which means that equipping this weapon with a laser sight is pretty much the way to go. It pretty much becomes a laser, not unlike the M5K in Battlefield 3. Now, the MPX also has a very healthy rate of fire of 850 rounds per minute, which isn't the top among PDWs, obviously, but is quick enough to be able to fill the enemy with a bucket of lead before he even knows what's what. It's also not so fast as to be completely uncontrollable, like the CZ3A1, stacking its vertical recoils, right on top of one another. In fact, the stubby grip I equipped for this loadout on the MPX is somewhat helpful at buffing the penalty spread increase for automatic fire, so stacking corpses up close becomes very enjoyable. Its recoil up is nothing to write home about at 0.36 per shot, but its side-to-side recoil is the same at 0.3 left and right, so they should cancel each other out in theory on full auto, which is a good thing. The first shot multiplier is also not too bad at 2.1 times the normal recoil. Compare that with the atrocity dice imposed on the ASVL of 3.5 and you will wince. The MPX also has an interesting muzzle velocity of only 340 meters a second unsuppressed, which is not the slowest among all PDWs by any means, but interestingly enough, in the real world, this is just under the sound barrier, which is 340.29 meters a second at sea level. So, if indeed DICE didn't create a different variable for its own subsonic rounds like it did with the bullet drop of most projectiles, this pretty much assumes that even firing without the suppressor, the MPX ammo is subsonic, but just, as I said, at only 0.29 meters per second under the limit. The one thing that could put a crimp in your MPX day, though, is its high rate of fire, coupled with a smaller than usual magazine of only 25 rounds, and the inherent ability for the lead to eventually run out. The way I see it is that you either die a noob, spray and prayer with the MPX, or you live long enough to see yourself run out of ammo. Which is in fact what happened to me at least once as I went ham with the MPX, trying to unlock the necessary parts for this loadout. And actually it wasn't all too easy, as I spent several days and had to level up this thing up to the top, or in fact 490 kills to get the very last battle pack to unlock the flash suppressor. I did have a few enjoyable multi-kills and spammerific through and through doubles, but generally, as I said before, I really hate this battle pack system. It's like playing Russian roulette with a fully loaded suitcase, It isn't fun or enjoyable in any way, and you never know what you're gonna unlock in the accessory when you're going to unlock the accessory that you need. So I had to spend several days playing nothing but TDM and domination, close quarter maps, trying to unlock this shit, and obviously got to the proficiency dog tag even, which looks horrible, by the way, DICE, for any weapon. I mean, they should have been designed much better for the reward that you're getting, you know. I mean, 500 kills and all you're getting is a shitty dog tag that looks like if I drew it while being sober. So, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Loadout, and now because I don't feel like suffering alone, Stephen Day God must also run this loadout and upload it to YouTube, and I'll accept the link down below in the comments section. Thanks for watching. Please rate and share this video as it helps my channel grow. Check out my other videos at the end of this one. And remember, in Soviet Russia, YouTube subscribes you.